Today on the UOFanatic Podcast, we will take a deep dive into the epic universe Darkmoor attraction, Curse of the Werewolf. We will follow that up with a pre-HHN trip report, but first up, some news from around the resort.
Hello? This is Jonah Jameson. Roger, over. Is this thing on?
My name is Angus, and I am a UOFanatic. Welcome to the show. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review on your platform of choice by searching UOFanatic, also on YouTube. Follow along and continue the conversation at UOFanaticPod on Twitter as well. Let's cover our first news item. The Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift coaster track has been completed at Universal Studios, Florida. It looks absolutely ridiculous in the best way possible. The 170-foot spike right out for all to see in City Walk, it's going to bring a whole new kinetic experience to the entire area. I watched a POV video of the Hollywood version, and just seeing how these cars spin just makes me nervous and excited. I can't wait to ride this beast. Really looking forward to seeing it all for myself, and can't wait to walk under it at Halloween Horror Nights. As one Fast and Furious attraction is being built, another has closed as of August 16th. Universal had a DJ, performers, and cars on display outside the attraction. They were handing out wristbands, which were required for the final ride of the evening. They're also handing out car coasters that have the attraction date, and it reads "One Last Ride." It may have been a terrible idea, but it's great how they have been giving fan service for attraction closings, and it's also great that they are correcting a wrong that they had done to their most beloved franchise, Fast and Furious. Hamikuma is coming to Universal Orlando for HHN 35. What began as an original character developed for Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Japan, Hamikuma has become a global fan favorite since debuting in 2021. Following last year's breakout success in the US, guests will be able to shop an expanded assortment of Hamikuma merchandise beginning August 24th, including a trendy plaid top, plush backpack, and plaid fanny pack with embedded plush embellishments, all of which showcase the character's signature personality. New this year, fans can step into the world of Hamikuma like never before. At Universal Studios Florida, Hamikuma will debut with a meet and greet experience inside the Five and Dime store during Halloween Horror Nights event hours. At Universal Studios Hollywood, Hamikuma returns for a dedicated meet and greet during select afternoon and early evening times on the event nights. Hamikuma will also take the stage once again at Universal Horror Unleashed with a new live show throughout September and October. Additional global experiences, including the character's debut at Universal Studios Singapore and return to Universal Beijing Resort and Universal Studios Japan, will bring even more opportunities to fans around the world. I imagine a lot of Orlando-based Universal fans don't know much about Hamikuma. In life, Hamikuma was a sideshow performer in a traveling circus, so adorable that he drew massive crowds wherever he went. That popularity became his downfall. His fellow performers grew consumed by jealousy and started a rumor that he couldn't possibly be a real bear. One night, they trapped him in the big top and slashed open his belly to expose what was really inside. But there was nothing there. To hide what they'd done, they burned the tent down, killing him. That wasn't the end, though. In the afterlife, a demon called Deathbringer worked its way into Hamikuma's open belly, granting him eternal life and letting him keep performing. Being dragged back into the world left his guts permanently spilling out, hence the gruesome but cute design. It does sound a little weird, but he's really, really popular, so I look forward to seeing how long the line is for this meet and greet and in the Five and Dime. Next item, Inside Universal reported that there will be an exclusive bar called the Keyholder Bar. It will be located just to the left of the Music Plaza stage and will require patrons to be one of the following: an annual pass holder, a hotel guest, or a Universal Rewards card holder. Universal Rewards is that Universal credit card that you see offered everywhere on site. Once you add up all the annual pass holders, reward holders, and hotel guests, I can't help but think we may have found the busiest bar in the entire event. Of course, I'll take a look, but I will quick to move on if my gut feeling is correct. It seems like it's going to be a good place to wait in line, if you ask me. It's a good week for bar news because Inside Universal also reported that an Ozzy Osbourne bar is being set up behind Lombard's. I personally wish they named it Wine is Fine, but Whiskey's Quicker, but I'll take anything Ozzy related. Some fans pointed out that the irony, since Ozzy had his own battles with alcoholism, and then the opposing views pointed out that there was an Ozzy beer released on the anniversary of his death as well by the family. So it's not a, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's definitely not a bad faith move specifically by Universal on this topic, but I'm not going to tell you how to feel about it. That's for sure. Not exactly news, but worth sharing regardless. Mike Aiello tweeted out something exciting for us HHH fans on August 14th. He wrote, Night 1 of HHN reviews complete. Invasion, Blood and Guts, Cybergoria, Stranger Things Return to Hawkins show. You are all in for a treat. So proud of our entertainment team and everyone who brings Halloween Horror Nights to life. This event has never been one person or one division within entertainment. It is an incredible collective of talent across disciplines, each lending their gifts to the whole. There is no I, it has always been we, and HHN is better for it. Year after year, this team turns horrific stories into unforgettable experiences, and I could not admire them more. Proud to be a part of the we. That simple tweet really made my day. We're so damn close. It's so close. Darren Scott tweeted about some unpublished material from the SFX magazine interview with Laura Sauls. The following was posted. Question: Will the HHN podcast return? Answer: yes. Just the week before we came here, this was the end of July, we shot the roundtable. A special guest appeared on the roundtable, TJ Manarino. TJ has been a part of Halloween since day one. He was a scenic designer on the very first house in Fright Nights in 1991. So having him as part of the roundtable was really special because we had him in the original content section. He's a vice president now, so he's not in the weeds with us, if you will, so he didn't know as much. So him asking us questions was just really cool. That roundtable will come out prior to the event. Then we are writing some of the Echoes from the Fog story podcasts. We have written one for Cybergoria. We wrote one for Cindy's Sideshow of Decay. We're writing one for Downtown Clowntown. Then we're also writing one for overall for the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. In the past, we got these stories much earlier, and they had some great background, really detailed-oriented information about the original houses. I say better late than never, and I'm particularly interested in the Cybergoria one, but, the event's about to start. I wish we did have it a little sooner. Maybe it will come out this week. We'll have to wait and see. All right, let's call this next one a rumor rather than news, as this comes from Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt. A Reddit poster said after calling Universal Orlando, they were given the Unmasking the Horrors 3-house and 6-house tour lineups. The 3 houses tour would be Hellraiser, HR Blood and Guts, Invasion Alien Abduction. The 6-house tour would be Stranger Things 5, Sinners, Ozzy, Evil Dead Burn, Jack and Oddfellow, and Madland's Caged Cannibals. In the past, it's typically an intellectual property that isn't in the lineup, so it's a little unusual that an original Cybergoria is the house left out of the lineup. My personal pick of those two options, I'd be more interested in the 6-house tour with Stranger Things, Sinners, and Ozzy. Just that's the lineup that if I could choose. I'm definitely considering it on my second trip. The 3-house tour starts at $99 and begins August 21st, so make sure you don't get spoiled on social media if you don't want to be. The 6-house tour starts at $199 and includes a buffet lunch and begins on August 28th, HHN opening day. That's going to wrap up the news this week, so now on to our main topic, Curse of the Werewolf. Today we're going to take a deep dive into this attraction that exists in Darkmoor, the Dark Universe land at Epic Universe. Curse of the Werewolf is a steel-launched spinning family roller coaster located in the Dark Universe at Universal Epic Universe. Designed and manufactured by the German firm Mack Rides, the attraction officially opened along with Epic Universe on May 22nd, 2025. The ride is a sit-down coaster featuring free spinning vehicles where the rate and direction of rotation are determined by natural gravitational forces and the weight distribution of the riders. It uses linear synchronous motor propulsion for its launches rather than a traditional lift hill. The total experience lasts under 2 minutes, approximately 1 minute 45-ish. While the physical track time is relatively brief, the ride uses a multi-pass swing launch system inside a barn structure, launching the train forward and backward to dynamically extend the ride duration. The coaster reaches a top speed of 37 miles per hour, 59.5 kilometers per hour, and the layout has no inversions and was designed to weave tightly through a constrained space originally intended for a theater building. Guests must be at least 40 inches to ride the attraction, and it is definitely a family coaster. It will accommodate the vast majority of park guests. Notably, Curse of the Werewolf is one of the few thrill attractions at Epic Universe that does not require a locker. Guests are permitted to stow bags and loose items at their feet or under their seats during the ride. The attraction is based on the 1941 Universal Pictures film The Wolfman. The story places guests in a secluded wagon camp of the Guild of Mystics, where the seer Maliva warns them that they bear the mark of the werewolf. The experience is supported by an original orchestral score composed by Danny Elfman, which was recorded by the Budapest Scoring Orchestra to enhance the Gothic Darkmoor village atmosphere. This attraction utilizes 2 trains. Each train consists of 5 cars, accommodating a total of 20 passengers per dispatch. Riders are arranged 2 across in 2 rows, seated back to back. This arrangement allows half the passengers to experience segments of the ride in reverse. The vehicles resemble rustic wooden carriages adorned with colorful wolf medallions on their sides, depicting wolves running in front of stars. Each carriage is free spinning, meaning that rate and direction of rotation are determined by natural gravitational and lateral kinetic forces rather than a motor. Consequently, every ride is unique as the intensity of the spin is heavily influenced by the weight distribution of the riders. The attraction is considered more immersive at night when LED spotlights and strobe lights better illuminate the werewolves hidden in the forest and barn sections. The ride typically maintains an average standby wait of approximately 49 minutes, though it can spike significantly during peak holiday periods. In addition to the standby line, it offers a single rider line and Universal Express Pass access. Child swap is also available. The experience follows a narrative-driven sequence that utilizes multiple launches to navigate its compact footprint. After boarding in a ruined loading station, the train dispatches and immediately engages an LSM, linear synchronous motor, rolling launch. This propels guests through initial banking turns and a winding hill that weaves over the pedestrian pathways of Darkmoor Village. The train enters a decrepit wooden barn and comes to a complete halt in total darkness. Inside, it undergoes a multi-pass shuttle launch sequence. The train is launched backwards, out of the barn, up a dead-end spike. Gravity pulls it back through the barn, where it's launched forward, up an opposite hill. It is launched a 3rd time with maximum force to clear the tallest hill of the circuit. Once over the primary hill, the train enters a dense network of tight helixes and quickly drops, designed to simulate a high-speed flight through a forest canopy. The coaster concludes in a hard brake zone before disembarking the attraction. The physical queue begins at a secluded camp belonging to the Guild of Mystics, a nomadic group of travelers and seers. The entrance is framed by 2 intricately detailed wooden vardos, wagons. The left wagon features a styled sign of a snarling werewolf clutching a polished moonstone, which glows with an eerie supernatural light at night. As guests wind through the heavily wooded outdoor area, they pass tattered canvas banners. These banners display the classic poetic warning from the 1941 film, "Even one who is pure of heart may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the moon is full and bright." Throughout the journey, guests are immersed by that Danny Elfman orchestral score I mentioned earlier. A specific track, Into the Guild of Mystics, uses acoustic instruments and haunting minor keys to establish the gothic mood. At the midpoint of the queue, guests encounter a detailed scenic set representing a fortune teller's workspace. The table features antique candle lamps and a spread of oversized lore-specific tarot cards, including the archetypes such as the Beast, the Mystic, the Moon, the Mark, and the Carriage. Behind the table is a painted partition adorned with silver crescent moons and star motifs, which serve as a visual barrier from the attraction's infrastructure. The queue culminates in the load area, themed as a ruined stone and timber structure that appears to have survived a violent attack. A jagged, gaping hole in the wooden ceiling reveals a permanent, luminous, theatrical full moon, reinforcing the narrative that the werewolf transformation is imminent. The interior walls are decorated with colorful wooden medallions depicting wolves running in front of stars, serving as a visual metaphor for the spinning movement of the ride vehicle. As the attraction begins, guests are greeted by Maliva, the all-knowing wolf seer and leader of the guild. She warns them that they bear the mark of the werewolf and must beware of the moon. To flee the encroaching threat, guests board rustic wagons and plunge into the deep, dark forest. The ride experience simulates a frantic chase through the woods, culminating in a sequence inside a decrepit barn. This barn features a jagged hole in the roof, revealing a permanent full moon, signifying that moment that the guests transform into the beast. I touched on this already, but after surviving the forest chase, the train reaches a final break zone where a figure of Maliva points accusingly at the riders, standing next to a tapestry that reads, "Beware of the moon." She holds Larry Talbot's silver-headed cane, confirming that the riders have been cursed. The narrative incorporates artifacts from the original film lore, most notably this silver-headed cane and the presence of moonstones. Within the Dark universe, it is narrated that it is always a full moon, which serves as the catalyst for the attraction's tension and the guest's eventual transformation. I want to share some of my personal opinions on the attraction. First thing I have experienced is that it's a very slow loader. Even with an express pass, you will wait longer than you expect to. It's not unmanageable with express, but be aware it's going to be slower than what it looks like just because it loads so slowly. Having said that, I found this attraction is more fun than it should be. It's not necessarily thrilling, but it's hard not to smile while riding it. The free spinning adds to the experience, and I strongly recommend you take the time to ride the attraction whenever you visit Darkmoor. And that's going to do it for the attraction. And now, without any decent segue at all, let's move into a bit of my pre-trip report. I will be spending a week at Universal, which lines up with HHN's opening weekend. With Labor Day being as late as it can be, we took advantage of that fact to spend more time than usual at this time of year since my wife's occupation is tied to the public school system. For the first time, this is before she goes back to work. So rather than just a long weekend, she can stay for an entire week. So we took advantage of that. I'm also taking advantage of that extra time to bring my mother to see Epic Universe. My parents brought me to Disney and Universal frequently while I was growing up, and this is the first time that I have something special to show her, introduce her to the new park. Since my kids are also going, that makes this a 3-generation trip. That feels pretty special by itself, but then you throw in 6 nights at the Royal Pacific and opening weekend of my favorite event, and I just couldn't be more excited. I plan to take full advantage of the unlimited express passes we get for staying at the Royal Pacific Resort and spend a lot of time in the legacy parks. Highlights there will be lots of rides on Velocicoaster, Spider-Man, and the Mummy. The lowlights will of course be no express on Hagrid's. Womp womp. I do plan on getting express for our day at Epic, and while my mother can't ride many things there, I can't wait to show her how beautiful the park is. At Epic, I want to accomplish pretty much everything once, and then Monsters Unchained several times. I am also hoping to meet Toothless as well. When it comes to food at Epic, I'm hoping to convince my family to share and try to eat a little of a lot and avoid big meals during the day. I do have a reservation for dinner for us at Bar Helios in the early evening, but the rest of the day I want to kind of check off as many appetizers and snacks as possible. While at the North Campus, I hope to keep the food options at a minimum as far as cost goes. This is an expensive trip and I want to focus more on the food at Epic and also HHN. For HHN, I am hopeful to try that same tactic as we did at Epic and convince everyone to share and try several things. My wife is looking to pick out something, so I'm sure that one won't be cheap either. My mom will not be joining us for our 2 evenings at HHN, but one of those days, maybe depending on weather conditions at the time, I hope to try out the new Stay and Scream opportunities. On opening day, as an example, if rain is holding off, that's super unlikely. And then maybe I'll do Stay and Scream. My plan will be to take my mom back to the hotel for a rest around 1 if it works out, and then we could enjoy Stay and Scream, and then we could meet my mom again for dinner before heading out all night for HHN. I can just move that plan to Sunday if Friday's weather stays true to tradition. Historically, opening night has been torrential. My HHN plans are simple. Enjoy every house at least twice and see the shows at least once. We will have Express, so I'm not concerned with the minimum, but of course, in my mind, I want to do everything even more so. So push when I can. I also want to spend some time at Club Horror and catch the Death Eaters at Diagon Alley as well. And of course, yes, I would love to meet Hamikuma. Our arrival day happens to be the day of the AP previews for the Tribute Store, so that is definitely on my list of to-dos. I'd love to see the AP previews for the Cursed Coconut Club as well. We do have a couple of friends showing up on that Saturday, which will not attend HHN, but they will join us on Sunday's HHN and do the parks with us the remaining couple of days of our trip. Basically, want to mention some special packing I'm doing for this time of the year because I think it would be beneficial for people who haven't been this time of year. There are two major factors this time of year. It's particularly brutal heat with humidity and almost daily torrential thunderstorms in the afternoon. If you've ever watched Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan has the best advice that works here in this situation. Protect your feet. I bring good sneakers, but I also have good walking flip-flops. UFAs is a brand that I happen to like. Sneakers are best because of the support, but once they are wet, they will be quite some time before they can be useful again. I also buy a lot of cheap ponchos from Amazon. They're a mere fraction of the cost you will pay at Universal. While they are thin and cheap, I just consider them throwaway. Anyone who has reused the Universal poncho knows that particular stink and discomfort from wearing a poncho a second time after sweating in one. At the cost you would pay, it's okay to throw these out comparatively. Fast drying shorts and shirts are a great idea as well for the same reasons. Another thing I'd like to just throw out there, early flights to Orlando have a higher probability of not being impacted by weather. This time of the year, you definitely need to factor these things like this in. It doesn't mean you have to do this, but realize delays can and do happen. Have your expectations in check and think ahead of time how you will handle the different possibilities. It might save you some anxiety. Trust me. I think that covers the pre-trip plans. It's basic, but aggressive at the same time. My big focus is really on just a few things: showing my mom a new park, spending quality time with my family, and having a great time at my favorite event of the year. But since I'm going on vacation, you'll notice my episode cycle gets a little complicated, so I will try to keep the next episode on time. I considered getting a pre-recorded episode to post to make sure it's on time, but given the relevancy of my trip and those experiences, it would have felt like just mailing it in. I may be a little bit late, but I will try to get it on time, and if not, I will get it out as soon as I can. So after that, that's going to do it for this episode of the UOFanatic Podcast. So let me ask you, what is your most anticipated Halloween Horror Night house? I'd love to know. Please comment on Twitter to @UOFanaticPod or leave a comment to UOFanatic on YouTube. While we're on the topic, please like and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. I would also really appreciate it if you spread the word about the show or share an episode on social media. I really would appreciate your support. Speaking of support, if you would like to support the show, please consider allowing me to assist you and book your Universal vacations. I am an authorized Universal Orlando Resort specialist with decades of experience at touring the Universal Orlando Resort. Remember, my service costs nothing to you. It's absolutely free. I am paid for by Universal Destinations. Find out more at UOFanatic.com, where you can fill out a short form letting me know how to get in touch with you about your Universal Orlando vacation. Just look for the free quote button. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Guess that wraps things up. You guys did all right. But don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.
Congratulations, you're heroes. I knew it all the time.